Good night of Shabbos, everyone. This week is Shabbos Mevarchim Sivan. Sunday is Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Shabbos Parshas Bamidbar. And the Rebbe requested a number of years ago that this Shabbos Mevarchim Sivan, should be dedicated as a Shabbos Achdus, that by Shalosh Sudas time should have a farbrengen encouraging Avos Yisrael. Unfortunately, in Golus plan, I don't know how many people are going to be able to do it this year, but definitely we could think about these ideas and speak about these ideas throughout the whole time, today, over Shabbos, until Mashiach comes, and definitely when Mashiach comes will be even stronger. The idea of Shabbos Parshas Bamidbar, what do we learn about in the Torah reading? We learn about the counting of the Jewish people. The whole Chumash Bamidbar actually is called Chumash HaPkudim, even in English. It's known as the Book of Numbers, which is the idea that every single Jew was counted. Why did Eibusha count the Jewish people? So Rashi writes in the beginning of Parshas Bamidbar that counting the Jewish people shows on the fact that Hashem treasures every single Jew. Whenever there was some change in the status of the Jewish people, something happened, the Eibusha once again counted the Jewish people. Counting might look like a very superficial, simple act, but when you count something, it shows on a great love and affection you have for that thing. And counting the Jewish people highlighted Eibusha's love for every single Jew. It also highlights the importance of every single Jew, and how the greatest Jew, together with the most simplest Jew, were all counted as one. Moshe Rabbeinu was one, and the simplest Jew was also one. Every single Jew is important, unique, and should look at himself not obviously as part of the Jewish people, but not as someone that just schleps along with everyone else, but he's specifically counted individually. He has his individual koiches that he has to use out in making a better dira b'tachtenim, a better place for everyone to be in. The month of Sivan, Shabbos Mevarchim Sivan, is the third month of the year. Number 3 is associated with unity. When you have 1, there's no opposition. 2 represents opposition, right? 2 Jews, 3 opinions. What's the 3 opinions? Each Jew has his own opinion. And the third opinion is each Jew, which really might want to call 4 opinions. Each one is thinking to say the opposite of the other person, right? Even when 2 Jews greet, before they even say anything to each other, one guy says Shalom Aleichem, the other one says Aleichem Shalom. He has to say the other way around. But jokes aside, you have every single Jew you have different Jews. It's just natural. Ein day Yisayim Shabbos, everyone looks and understands things differently. Number 2 represents division, split. What is the function of number 3? Number 3 doesn't mean more division than 2, but symbolically, conceptually, number 3 is the hamachriya, the one that brings peace between 1 and 2. As we find many times in the Mishnah and the Gemara, you have 2 opinions. And the third opinion is like balances out the 2 previous opinions in the middle. And to bring peace between 2 opposite things requires obviously something deeper than the 2 existing opinions that were there before. So the month of Sivan, which the Torah was given, is associated with number 3 in the Gemara Masechta Shabbos lists. In the Farshim there also, Rabbi Shalom Zirkind lists a whole bunch of things with number 3 associated with the giving of the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu was the 3rd one in his family, and the Torah is comprised of 3 parts: Torah, Nevi'im, Uksuvim, etc., etc., etc. And the idea of Torah is the idea of unity of number 3. And the unity that's brought about by Torah is twofold. First of all, it's in the world at large. The whole Torah was given to bring peace in the world. We say every day in davening, Talmidei Chachamim Marbim Shalom Ba'olam. The job of Torah is to bring peace in the world. That is why Torah has to be done in a way of peace, and if Torah is done in a way, obviously a person has to be strong to the principles of Torah, and he can't budge from what Torah wants, but the way Torah is communicated has to be done in a way that a person sees that simultaneously your ambition, your goal, your desires to increase peace in the world, and to set up laws and boundaries and disciplines according to Torah, in order that the world itself should be in perfect harmony with its true purpose in life, and with the person's true purpose in life. And you're not trying to control the person or put him in a box, but you're trying to bring out his true best. Torah has to be done in a way of shalom. Lasi shalom, but Most importantly, what's very relevant in these days of the year is that the preparation to Torah was done, that the Jewish people reached a state of unity. Now, unity amongst the Jewish people can be done in a superficial way. We all have different opinions. I want to do this, we want to do that, but we take a vote, we decide we're all going to follow the majority, we're all, for practical purposes, we'll all join together and do this thing, but it's external. I don't really connect with the other person inwardly. We're just joining together and combining our forces because we accept that we have to act together. We shouldn't have any division, God forbid, in actual life. But we're not one in our heart and our soul. The Achdus that the Yidden had before the giving of the Torah was Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. Not only they were one unit, but they had one heart. Their feelings were united. Now this sound as a very tremendous accomplishment. Jews, like we said before, always everyone is different. 2 Jews, 3 opinions, or maybe even more. So how is it that when they came to Matan Har Sinai, they reached this great stage of complete unity? So the answer is, when they came to Har Sinai and they were standing before the place where they realized that Eibusher is going to give the Torah at this mountain, they became associated, they became aware of something, they felt the presence, the idea of the Torah, of the giving of the Torah, which is something which transcends completely their divisions. They became totally nullified. When I have my opinion, you have your opinion, and we're very strong about our opinions because I feel that my opinion is the whole world. This is a true take on life. When you're standing in front of the Eibusher himself, you're standing in front of the place where the Eibusher is going to give the Torah, all of a sudden you become aware that it's not about me, it's not about my opinions, it's about the Eibusher, it's about the Torah that the Eibusher is about to give. And therefore, not only that we forget about our differences, but we come to realize that we are really one. That our inherent goal, the desire of every single Jew, and our true ambition and goals are really identical. It's totally one. It's to become one with the Eibusher and to do what the Eibusher wants. And this is what happened when they came to Har Sinai. Vayichan Sham Yisrael neged the Har. They were standing neged the Har. They came to the realization that this is the place where the Eibusher will give the Torah. So despite the fact that they had valid differences of opinion, not just because they wanted to outsmart each other, or to do the opposite of what the other person wants, because each person has his own derech and avodas Hashem, but standing in front of the mountain, they appreciated that the giving of the Torah represents something which is deeper than opinions and understandings. It's the Eibusher himself. And at that level, all Jewish people are one. And this was the first preparation for the giving of a Torah. And interestingly enough, the Gemara says, Rebbe has al-Sicha, the Rebbe explains that from the second day of Sivan and on, there were different preparations. Moshe Rabbeinu communicated to the Yidden and back to the Eibusher, different preparations for the giving of the Torah. The mitzvah of separation from the mountain, separation from their wives, and so on and so forth. But the first day of Sivan, right when they came to Har Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't tell them anything. The Gemara says, why? Because chulsha de'urcha. They were tired from their journey. And the Rebbe says, physically speaking, it's hard to understand that they were really so tired, and that they should be so tired that they shouldn't want to hear anything about the preparation of the giving of the Torah. But rather, the Rebbe says that the chulsha de'urcha, what it means that they were tired, the weakness of the road, is a spiritual journey. It's going from one extreme, reaching such a recognition that there's something much greater and deeper and essential that unites all the Jewish people is obviously a great journey. I mean, it's an emotional journey and a spiritual journey. You're reaching a totally different understanding of who you are, what you are, and where you really belong. And when the Jewish people were at that level, first of all, that itself was a great accomplishment. They didn't need anything more. And in a certain sense, at that point, the Taka didn't need to have the other preparations, because this itself is the foundation on which the other preparations come from. At this level, the point that's demanded is Achdus. Then you have to prepare for the other things as the time comes. But they achieved the ultimate achievement at that day. There was no need at that day, at that time, to do anything more than to have Achdus. So this is something which, when it comes every single day, we have to have Avos Yisrael, but particularly when it comes this time of the year, and when we reach the giving of the Torah, and by religious Jews, devout Jews, unfortunately, a lot of times, Machlokes, and Alter Rebbe writes in the letter that most of the tzaras that we have is from Machlokes L'Shem Shemayim, It's from fights that are not done because just for, external reasons, monetary, social, whatever it is, but a lot of times it comes from, we have true, valid differences of opinion, and we really feel the other person is going against what is really true and right, the other person thinks the same thing about me. We have to reach a recognition that there's something much greater about the Torah. It's about the Noisinat Torah. It's about the giver of the Torah. At that level, all Jews are one and our desires are really one. And when we reach that level, we're able to access the Noisinat Torah. We're able to access the Eibishter, which is giving the Torah, and we're able to bring that back down into the Torah and our daily way of life. So this is something the Rebbe asked that this Shabbos we should speak about and focus on. And it's connected with the Parshas HaShavua, like I mentioned before, that the Eibishter counts every single Jew. He brings out the unity of every single Jew, the unique love that the Eibishter has for the Jewish people as a whole, and for every single Jew in particular. And it's the month of Sivan, is number 3, and it's the Rosh Chodesh Sivan, is the day that the Jewish people receive the Achdus. The Rebbe also said elsewhere that the same way before the giving of the Torah, Achdus was required, the same thing is before the coming of Mashiach. It's also important that there should be Achdus. The Achdus is always necessary because we know that the Galus came because of Sinas Chinam, and the revelation of Mashiach will come about through Avas Chinam, through loving a Jew, even if we don't see any reason for it. But the same way, in order to receive the Torah, the Jewish people, it wasn't because everyone perpetuated their own ideas and their own ideologies that were true, and L'Shem Shemayim, that was brought the Torah, but when they transcended their own ideologies, when they nullified themselves to the Eibishter, that's what brought about the giving of the Torah. The same thing is by the Gula Hasidah. It's something which is much greater than us, and we have to reach a true level of Achdus, and like I mentioned before, Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad, not just unity in action, but unity in heart, realizing that there's something much greater than we could imagine that's about to happen. Neged Hahar. There's a very powerful revelation that's much greater than my feelings and my understanding. And the way how I connect to that is because essentially I'm a Jew, and essentially this is what I want because I'm a Jew. And the Jew sitting next to me, even though he might look completely different than me, he also has the same desire. And we also know that the Rambam tells us that one of the jobs Eliyahu Navi will do is Lasei Shalom B'Olam. One of the preparations to do before Mashiach comes is to bring peace in the world. So we see how bringing peace in the world, we don't have to wait for Eliyahu Navi to come. It's true the Gemara says elsewhere, Yemunach Hachiyavi Eliyahu, there's certain things that only Eliyahu Navi will be able to figure out, will be able to decide who's right, who's wrong. And some things only Mashiach will be able to resolve, but as much as we are able to, we have to realize certain things we might not be able to resolve. Certainly we have to leave up the higher authority to the Eibishter, to Mashiach and to Eliyahu Navi. He will answer all the questions and resolve all the disputes. But what we could do is definitely to increase. Eliyahu Navi is coming to bring peace in the world, which means both to bring peace into the world amongst the Jewish people, between the Eibishter and the Jewish people, and between the Eibishter and the world, which is the idea of the Torah, Lasei Shalom B'Olam, to bring peace into the world. And we should all be zeicha that through our endeavors of thinking about another Jew, speaking about another Jew, just like the Eibishter counted every single Jew, he didn't just love him in his heart, but he expressed his love for every single Jew, and acting upon it, Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. So we should merit the ultimate redemption when then we'll once again re-experience the Torah, the giving of the Torah. We won't have a new Har Sinai, but once again learn Torah from the Eibishter himself. And then we'll have the true unity, Kulam Yedu Oisi. We find that when Mashiach comes, on one hand we say that there won't be a need for one person to learn from another person. Everyone will equally know Hashem. On the other hand, we say that there will still be differences. So it's explained in the understanding, in the levels of understanding, different levels of godliness will be different levels. When it comes to the essence, the essential recognition of the essence of the Eibishter, there every single one will be equal. And this is what happened by Har Sinai. The recognition came from the essence of a Jew, recognizing the essence of his connection with the Eibishter, and that every single Jew was equal. And this will become revealed and manifest when Mashiach comes. So we should be zeicha that standing at this time of the year, we should once again have the true and complete, we should once again have Matan Torah, but every day we have Matan Torah, but we should have the experience of Matan Torah, the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, which will be manifest when Mashiach will come, that then the whole world will be permeated with godliness like the time of Matan Torah, and we should have Shabbos Achdus Yisrael, and we should have a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh, and we should celebrate the coming days together with Mashiach Tzidkenu, and we should receive then our appreciation of Torah, our understanding of Torah, our living according to Torah will be done with true simcha and with true pnimius, and should happen take it from Yad Mamish. Mami.